Something about people doesn't add up, and you're the only one who notices it. You don't just see what's happening, you notice what's off. A room can look completely normal. People are talking, laughing, reacting like everything makes sense. Conversations flow, expressions seem natural. Nothing feels out of place on the surface, but for you, something doesn't sit right. It's subtle, almost invisible if you're not paying attention. A look that lingers just a second too long, a reaction that comes slightly delayed, like it had to be calculated, a tone that doesn't fully match the words being spoken. And the strange part is, no one else reacts. They keep talking, they keep smiling, they move on as if everything fits perfectly. To them, the moment is complete. But your mind pauses. Because for you, reality isn't just what people choose to show, it's what slips through when they lose control for a split second. And once your brain catches that, you can't unsee it anymore. At some point, you stop seeing moments as random and start seeing patterns. Not the obvious patterns everyone notices, the quiet ones hiding underneath behavior. You begin to recognize how people subtly change depending on who they're around, how someone's tone shifts when they feel slightly uncomfortable, how confidence drops for just a fraction of a second before they answer a question. It's not something you consciously decide to analyze, it just happens automatically. Your brain starts connecting everything: expressions, timing, micro reactions, body language. And the more you notice, the clearer it becomes. You start predicting responses before they happen. You sense tension before anyone acknowledges it. You notice inconsistencies others don't even register. And that's when it becomes impossible to ignore. Most interactions aren't as real as they appear. They're adjusted, filtered, sometimes carefully constructed. At first, this ability feels like an advantage. You understand people faster than others, you read situations more clearly, you avoid things that others walk into blindly. It gives you a sense of control. You're rarely surprised, rarely caught off guard. You can feel the direction of a situation before it fully unfolds. And for a while, that feels powerful, like you're one step ahead of everyone else. But then something changes, because the more you understand people, the less you can ignore what you're seeing. You start noticing inconsistencies everywhere: small contradictions between words and actions, tiny signals that reveal something deeper, and suddenly what once felt like clarity starts becoming overwhelming. At some point, things stop feeling random and start making a little too much sense. You begin to notice how conversations don't always line up with what people are actually feeling. The words sound right, but something underneath them doesn't. A reaction comes a bit too fast, a laugh feels slightly misplaced. Someone agrees, but their body doesn't. And once you start catching these moments, you realize they're not isolated. They repeat: different people, different situations, same patterns. That's when it shifts. You're no longer just part of the moment, you're observing it, watching how people adjust themselves in real time, how they hold back, how they cover things up without even realizing it. And suddenly, normal conversations don't feel so simple anymore, because you're not just hearing what's being said, you're noticing everything that isn't. And that awareness doesn't stay neutral. It starts affecting how you feel in those moments. You find yourself pulling back even when nothing is obviously wrong, not physically, but mentally. Because while others are just present, you're processing. You notice the slight tension in someone's tone, the hesitation before they respond, the subtle shifts that most people move past without thinking. And it builds up, not in a dramatic way, but quietly over time. Conversations start feeling heavier than they should. Simple interactions begin to require more energy. Not because people are difficult, but because you're seeing more than what's being shown. And the more you notice, the harder it becomes to fully relax into the moment. You're there, but never completely inside it, always a step back, always aware. And eventually that's where it turns from awareness into weight. Because this isn't something you can switch off. You don't decide when to notice things, it just happens. In every conversation, in every silence, in every small detail that others overlook without effort. Your mind keeps scanning, connecting, interpreting, even when you wish it wouldn't. And that's the part no one really talks about. The fact that once you learn to see these patterns, you don't go back to not seeing them. There's no off switch. So instead of just experiencing reality, you're constantly aware of what sits beneath it. And over time, that changes how you move through the world. Not loudly, not dramatically, but enough to make everything feel just a little heavier than it used to. And maybe this is something you've been trying to understand about yourself for a long time, why certain environments feel overwhelming for no clear reason, why some conversations drain you even when nothing bad happens, why you can't fully relax even when everything seems fine on the surface. It's not random. It's not because you're too much. And it's definitely not because there's something wrong with you. It's because your mind doesn't just experience reality, it analyzes it in real time. You pick up on things most people filter out automatically, details most people never even register. And over time, that creates a different way of seeing the world, a deeper one, a sharper one, but also a heavier one, because when you see more, you also carry more. And the real challenge isn't learning how to notice less, it's learning how to live with what you already see. So here's a simple question. Do you actually relate to this, or are you just thinking about it? Because there's a difference. If you've ever felt like you notice things others ignore, like your mind doesn't fully switch off, you're not alone. And I'm curious, what's one small thing you've noticed recently that no one else seemed to catch? Write it down in the comments. And if this video made you understand something about yourself, subscribe, because there's a lot more about how your mind works that most people never realize.